What's up, everybody? My name is Naren Selvaratnam, and today I am going to talk to you about my favorite research methods books. Now, one could ask this question, why do you need to make a video about your favorite research methods books? Now, there is a reason. I teach research methodology. That is my day-to-day work. That's my profession. I'm a lecturer. So the module that I teach the most is research methodology. And of that, I mostly teach quantitative research methods, but here and there, like a little bit, I do teach qualitative research as well. But then, for me to develop my lectures, I use a set of books. And these are the same books I have been using to improve my understanding about research as well. So whenever a student asks, what are the kind of books you use to learn more about research methods, or what are the kind of books that you can recommend for us to know more about research methods, here's my go-to list. So I wouldn't be focusing on a specific subtype of research, in the sense, I don't focus on a specific approach, or I don't focus on a specific type of analysis, but rather this is just a general video about the kind of research methods books I have used to improve my understanding. And I have two more books that I have written also to help students understand more about research. So without further ado, let's get to this video. Okay, so what is my first book? If I remember correctly, in 2011, I first went to United States. I think that was my second year as an undergraduate student. And then I was a transfer student, that's why I told it's my second year. So when I went there, my advisor told me to take a class called Statistics for Psychology Students, or Statistics for Psychology, something like that. Anyways, the code was PS231, I still remember. And then I was a little bit hesitant, and then I asked, do you think I would be able to do this? And then he said, yeah, why not? You can definitely do this class. Just make sure that you follow every instruction your class professor tells you. And then when I went to the class, we were instructed to buy this book, the book that you are seeing in the screen right now. And this is, I have it on my screen here as well, Statistics for Behavioral Sciences, 8th edition. Now, this is a bit of an older edition. I told you I purchased this book in 2011. And this is authored by Frederick J. Gravetter and Larry B. Wallnau. Now, this is actually a statistics book. Why do I like this book? This book is the first book I ever used to learn about research methods and statistics. This book has information from the starting point of statistics and all the way up to, slightly advanced lessons that is required for both your undergraduate work and for your first, or maybe, your master degree as well. For some, it could be the first master degree, and if you have done your second master degree, yes, you can use this for your second master degree, the postmaster degree as well. It is an excellent book. I was a student who was weak at mathematics. I was weak. I couldn't, really understand mathematics as well. But what I did was, I actually went through this book. Each week, I went through one lesson, and each lesson helped me understand. And the good thing was, this book actually came with a CD. This CD had multiple lessons. So our class professor, she actually asked us to do one exercise or one particular assessment using the CD every week, so that she gives 10% of the overall grade from that as well. So every week I used to go through one of the lessons, and every week I used to do one of those assignments. So overall, it got me to understand quite a lot about statistical concepts. Because statistics are required when you do quantitative research, because when you design your research, you need to know more about what kind of a design is appropriate for your study, and that goes along with the analysis as well. You might design a study very well, but if you don't know what kind of analysis to use, so then your research is not going to be very successful. So analysis and design are two things that will go hand in hand. So this book helped me to learn more about statistics, helped me quite a lot with understanding how analysis work. And also, this understanding helped me to know more about design as well. Whenever I design, I think a little bit about analysis. Is my design going to help me with my analysis? That's a question I always ask. And then I am not using one to justify the other, but I'm using both of them at the same time, simultaneously, the design and the analysis, to come up with something that is feasible for me, and at the same time it would not compromise the rigor of the study. So this is my first book. So if you are interested in learning statistics, this is highly recommended. You should definitely read this. Why? Because it's one of my go-to books, and I hope it will help you understand quite a lot about statistics as well. So that's my first book. Now with this, let's go to the second one. Now, this is actually a research methods book. This is not a statistics book. This is a research methods book, and one of my favorite books as well. So, research designed by John W. Creswell. It has information about qualitative research, it has information about quantitative research, and also it has information about mixed method approaches. So, I personally haven't done any research using mixed method strategies, but I have done research on qualitative and quantitative frameworks using those two, approaches. And I first found this book, or this book was recommended to me by one of my professors who taught us research methodology. So the subject was actually called scholarship in my post-master degree in education. And she wanted me to go through this book to work on my qualitative research. So I did a qualitative research in my post-master degree, and this was quite helpful in designing that research. And also we employed interpretative phenomenological analysis. So that was my first experience with interpretative phenomenological analysis. Although I have learned a little bit about IPA in my first master degree, which was in psychology. But then again, this was the first time in my post-master degree I found this book. Very easy to understand, nicely written, and it has almost all the information that is required for you to do a research very well. That's one of my favorite books, and I still have it in my small library. And yeah, one of my go-to books. That's my second book. Now let's go to the third book. This is once again a research methodology book, Building Research Skills, written by one of my advisors, Dr. Frederick, and the team. They are all lecturers and associate professors at Management and Science University, where I actually do my PhD. So I am right now in my final year, very close to graduate from the program. And this book is very important for me throughout my PhD. Why? Because I used this book not just to work on my thesis, but when I wrote my papers, some of the concepts in the book helped me to understand more about how to design my paper. For example, in my master degree, I knew what sampling strategy was. Compared to my undergraduate, I had some understanding about what sampling strategy was, some in-depth understanding about how it functions when I did my master degree. But when it came to my PhD, I had quite a lot of understanding about, for example, how to come up with the population, how to develop my sampling frame, and thereby, how to develop more criteria, and then how I go ahead and decide what kind of a technique is the most appropriate for this, and how does the justification for each would work, and then again, what kind of threats I would encounter in such a situation, how to tie that up with my analysis, because this book actually has information about high-end analysis as well, like how to do some basic, structural equation modeling, and how variables, how latent variables can be, modeled using structural equation modeling and all. So it's an excellent book. It has quite a lot of information about validity, reliability. So almost everything that is required for you to do well in your PhD if you do a quantitative research. Now, I actually didn't do a PhD in, it's not a quantitative research. So my PhD is actually a qualitative research. But like I told, this book was very helpful for me to develop my papers. And I really recommend this book as well. So if you are interested in a good research methodology book, this is another book. So very similar to Creswell's book, this has, more updated information and all of that. So both books are okay if your interest is to understand more about research methods. Now let's go to my fourth book. Now this is, as you see here, this is not an English book. This is called Samaaja Gaveshakaya Shastriya Paryeshana Kramavedaya Moulikanga Vidikramaha Bhavitaya. This is a Sinhala book. It's a Sinhalese research methods book. I have some of my students who have difficulties in understanding the English concepts. Understandable. When I first started doing my undergraduate degree, I remember there were certain days that I couldn't come up with a proper Sinhala word because English is my second language. So when English is my second language, it is very difficult for me to understand certain abstract concepts and also certain theories as well. So those days I used to go through, I used to use Madura Dictionary. The website is maduronline.com. So shout out to Madura Dictionary as well, because the Madura Dictionary helped me quite a lot throughout my undergraduate degrees. So I think it's wonderful work what he has done in developing that dictionary, because when I go through my English book, if I don't understand a word, I would be first searching the Sinhala meaning through Madura Dictionary, and then I go to Google and get the full meaning and also the word in a specific sentence and all of that as well. So I had to spend some substantial time working on that to understand the full meaning. And after understanding, yes, with time, I was able to understand the concepts in English, but then again, my understanding of the same in Sinhala is very low. Not that I don't speak Sinhala, I speak Sinhala very well. But still, if someone asks, okay, what's the Sinhala word for positivism? How do you say logical positivism in Sinhala? Things like that is, a little bit difficult for me to explain. Mainly because, I have been using, now this is my 8th year of teaching, and then I have been doing all my teaching in English language. But if you want to save time on making those translations, this is one of the go-to books. This book has very good videos as well. It has given links to certain videos. So for example, if you go through a concept, it has some information in English, it has a translation as well, but then again, it has given some useful links. So if you click on that link, it will actually, take you to the relevant place to have a small infographic video about certain concepts as well. Because see, when you want to learn, you should consider a few sources to learn as well. So the more redundant it gets, sometimes it improves your memory, like being able to retain that information. So what I did was I use my book, I go through my book, and then I transfer my important notes to another notebook that I have, and then I work with different colors to highlight it, and I put my additional notes from other sources into my notebook as well. So I have a very concise written notebook with quite a lot of information. So my trick to remember things is not by going through this book, but by going through my notebook. So my notebook, I use it multiple times because I keep on writing it multiple times. So the more I write, the more I remember. So my process of remembering was actually writing. And that is something that you guys can do as well. So, which is once again why I use multiple textbooks as well. So the rest would actually follow. You don't need to always remember, but what you need to learn is you need to know how to go through a book and understand what is relevant to you and what is not relevant to you. So this is an excellent book. If you struggle a little bit with English, but you still want to learn about research method, this is an excellent book. So this is written by Dr. Saliya. He's known to me. And also, one of the greatest books I found in Sri Lanka, where things are written in Sinhala language and easy to understand and easy to follow as well. So excellent work once again. Now, that is my 4th book. So let's go to the 5th book. This is my favorite research methods book. Why? Because I use this book, I don't know, quite a lot during my PhD, because my PhD is based on interpretative phenomenological analysis. I could not find this book in Sri Lanka, so my sister used to live in Australia during that time. So I asked her to purchase this book, I think through Amazon, and then she purchased it and then she got it to me here. And yeah, I think I used this entire book to design my study very well. And also I use this book for most of my justification in my methods as well. I used other justification, other material for justification as well, but this was one of the most important pieces for me. And one good thing I actually see about this is it has all the information about the technical aspects of the method IPA, but also it gives you some examples that you could follow. For example, how exactly a full IPA study would look like. So they have given those nicer examples as well. And as a result, I consider this to be my favorite book and also my go-to book for IPA. And also, I think John A. Smith is one of the pioneers in developing IPA method. I have read papers written by John A. Smith, Paul Flowers, and Michael Larkin. So it's a very refreshing experience to read their book to understand more about the updated terminology, because we call it now experiential theme. We don't call it just an emergent theme, because when I did my second master degree, we were told to name every theme as an emergent theme. Whereas right now in this book, it is updated and it says that it's an experiential theme. So what is meant by an experiential theme? So these kind of things are well elaborated in the book. And also it gave me a better understanding about the general philosophy of phenomenology. So this book gives you a wider understanding about what phenomenology is, what are the different understandings or interpretations of this, which philosophers have told more about phenomenology, what are their interpretations, and then utilizing all of those, how would you use this methodology as a systematic inquiry. So all this information is kind of concatenated in this book. Very nice, one of my favorite books, or not one of my favorite books, my favorite book for research methods and for IPA. So the book is utilized for IPA, so I really recommend you to read this if IPA is your thing. So my sixth book, well, I actually wrote this book. Now, this is of course not a massive research methods book or anything. So in my post-master degree, I did the research on South Asian student leadership experiences or leadership self-efficacy, which is the same research I improved and expanded to my PhD as well. So this research used IPA. So I converted it to a book. Publishing as a research report or a research paper was very expensive. In Sri Lanka, I can actually publish it as a book for half of the money. So I actually did that mainly because I wanted to share it with my students so that they can use it as a guidebook to develop their qualitative research. So I'm not going to tell more information about this. You can, I'll give you a link if you ever want to purchase. So if you ever want to, go through it, you know where to, go ahead and get the book delivered to you. I have given some links. It's available at Sarasavi at One Goal Face and Kansas City Center. And also Jam Fruit Tree Publication. So they are my publishers. So you can find the book in their place as well. My last book, How to Use R. How to Run Essential Analysis in R. So this is a book I wrote for my first semester students to understand how to do descriptive analysis and how to do a simple correlation using R package or R Studio using multiple packages. Now, why do I write this book, or why do I think this book is very important? See, here's the reason. I think all undergraduate students should master some programming so that they can compete with the modern the requirements in the workplace. Because if you just know how to do basic statistics and if you know just a little bit of report writing and all of that, it might not translate well into a job. So if you are interested in doing a good job, knowing a little bit of more about programming and all of that is very good. So this will introduce students to R Studio. This will introduce students to use little bit of R programming language, so statistical computing. And at the same time, this enables students to learn more about how to use R as an alternative to SPSS, and also to use it as a great visualization tool with great customizability. That is the intention of this book, and we are currently working on the second edition of this book, that is how to use R package for statistical validation of questionnaires. There we actually will discuss about exploratory fact analysis, confirmatory fact analysis, and also item response theory. So the good news is this book is available to download free of charge. It is available in my ResearchGate account as well. If not, you can go to our journal website www.eganjournal.com, and there you can find there's a tab for books. You click on that and you can download that book. And with that information, I should also tell, if time permits, you can go to our journal as well. We are currently publishing our second issue of the journal. First volume was in the last year. Now this is the second volume. So we have already published 2 papers which you will be able to access from our journal website. So we have greatly improved our the journal template, and now it is indexed at Crossref and also Google Scholar, and our research papers are also available to be viewed at FatCat research catalog as well. So we are slowly improving that as well. So although it's a journal, I still consider it as a greater learning experience. So apart from these books, the journal is actually my other source of learning, because I get to interact with quite a lot of other researchers and I go through their methods. And as an editor, when I go through all of those, I of course tend to learn a little bit more as well. So since I'm planning on improving the quality of my journal, of course I do get a chance to learn more about publication ethics, about indexing, and then website development, website maintenance, social media, and blah blah blah. So those things also help me learn quite a lot about research methods. So this is how I learn research methods. This is how I think everyone should learn research methods as well. If you have more comments on how to improve our understanding, or if you think it will benefit others in our viewing community, feel free to list them in a comment as well. So this is pretty much it from my end. So these are my favorite books. So thank you very much for watching this video. So if you haven't subscribed already, please go ahead and subscribe and click on the bell icon so that you would know when I upload a new video, you will automatically get notified. And with that being said, thank you very much for taking the time to go through this video. And I shall see you again in a similar video in future. Thank you very much.